What's up, dudes? Welcome back to another episode of Rhomas Men's Team. Pretty simple. We are a group of guys helping each other make progress towards each other's goals. If you're new to the channel, awesome and welcome. If you want to help support the channel and join our pro team, head over to rhomasteam.com/pro, where you can contribute to us on a donation basis. We also give you access to exclusive content, mastermind groups, etc., etc. So anyway, hope you enjoy this episode, and we'll see you on the team. All right, dudes, we are live. Mr. Phil, what's up, brother? How are you doing?
Hey, pretty good. How's it going?
Good, man. And we got Ray upside down. Ray, what's up, brother? Can we hear you?
I'm right side up, dude.
I wanted to throw this out to you guys. I read this great quote. It may have been from the Bible. Certainly did not read it from the Bible, but I think it's from the Bible, which was there's profit in all labor. And I just really thought that was really profound, right? There's no work that you can do that is not profitable in some way, either monetarily, from a skill set perspective, character building perspective, etc. Phil, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think that makes sense. Like, any skill you build is gonna pay dividends, some kind of dividends. Some things are more profitable than others.
Yeah, for some reason this hit me. I don't know if it's just at the right time, but like the more advanced I get in my career, etc., like the more, how do you say this? Like the payback periods on the projects become further and further apart. So it becomes almost harder. It's like, oh, the capital spend on the projects are 5 times as large now, and they're taking 3 times as long. And part of me wants to like curl up into like the fetal position and say, no, we're good where we're at. Let's just not do it, because you're taking the risk with that time and the money. But then it's quotes like this that get me back on track. It's like, look, even if the project goes belly up, your team and you will acquire the skill set. You'll acquire the expertise. You'll acquire the domain of knowledge that used to be non-existent to you that's now existent. Ray, what's your position?
Hi, Wes. Hi, Phil. Grateful to be here. Is my audio okay?
Yeah, buddy.
All right. I love that quote, Wes. There is profit in all labor. First of all, that's not true. I'm just getting by. No profit yet, but it seeds all kinds of different ideas, related maxims like practice makes perfect, right? Like relationships versus transactions. When I heard you talk about 5x seed capital or whatever, Trumpist propaganda you just said there, like I thought of like a waiter just making tips on a per meal basis versus building a relationship with a client. Waiters do that too, but the kinds of work that really you have to invest time and resources in over a longer duration before and that's the risk period before the payout obtains, right? And some of the best things in life are just transactional. You go outside, you breathe the fresh air, you feel the sunlight, and it's boom, you're getting those helpful benefits. And other things are, there's a cumulative effect, right? And so that's what I think of when you right, there is profit in all labor. So like, yeah. So a couple of things come to mind. Yes, there's profit in all labor. Yes, practice makes perfect. But we have to have the right mindset, right? Because the so Wes, to push it back on you, what would be like a ordered mindset and what would be a disordered mindset when it comes to that maxim, there is profit in all labor?
So I think I'm also reminded of the quote, like spend no time on anything other than substance. So let's put that on top of, right? There's there's profit in all labor, because assuming you have proper judgment and you're not defining labor as playing video games, if you're not in the business of making video games, you know, we have to be careful on how we define the labor part. You know,
Right. Like throwing playing cards into a fedora in a motel room.
right, yeah, exactly. Because
Debatable as to whether that's a skill that you're acquiring.
yeah, and this sounds so obvious when we say it out loud, but as an example, I have a client who runs a company and we're trying to make his company more efficient, and he's an artistic type of guy. So he admittedly has in the past, how do you say this? Tagged some of his time as, oh, well, that's just like my inspiration time. It's like, no, you're just walking around doing what you feel like at the moment, and you're putting it under the title of inspiration.
Dreaming, visioning. Yeah.
Well, and Ray, I imagine like your business, right? You could argue
90%.
Yeah, right. You know, walking around the city, I'm just that's my creative time. That's my inspiration time.
Yeah. Stop taking away my creative time, Wes.
Yeah. So right, so you got to be careful there. So assuming that you are spending time on substance, then it's okay. The labor that I'm spending my time, that's substance based. Regardless of monetary profit, there will be some other type of profit. Phil, what's your perspective?
I don't know. I'm sorry. I just really don't have much to add to this. I'm not sure how to really say much.
Yeah.
Well, I think, Wes, if I can pick it up, Wes, or push back on you, like a couple of things that come to mind, for example, is like that Korean or Japanese or maybe Asian ethos, which is like the janitor takes his job extremely seriously and tries to be the model, like the platonic ideal of the janitor, right? Rather than grousing and grumping around saying like, I'm at the bottom of the food chain, right? Like that's something that comes to mind. However, I think that like if we are going to accept that there is profit in all labor, again, I feel like there has to be a mindset where either there are preconditions to that if I'm going to accept that, Wes. Okay, like if I'm going to accept this profit in all labor, one of the preconditions would be every day is a skill building day. Okay.
Yep.
And so what would be, because like if you're in jail and you are making desks and chairs for the public school system because of some sweetheart deal that the state has with a corporation, and it's basically just exploitative slave labor. All you did was murder a whole family, and now the state is exploiting your labor. That's labor, right? But anyway, so I mean, I'm joking around with some grotesque examples, but what are some of the other preconditions for you?
Ray the communist over here. Come on, man.
I'm getting fired. Like being broke really kind of like turns the workers against the means of production. Like it's attacking my system, dude.
I've been laboring as a peasant worker too, Ray. But what I think I could take out of the quote is that like if we take like if you know if something is labor, to take a kind of like dumb definition of this, like something is labor if it's laborious, right? So that definitely makes a lot of sense to me. Like if something is difficult for you, then working at it will be profitable. Like by definition, you know, if you've done something so much that it's easy, then maybe it's time to switch it up, or maybe it's time to try to maybe you've improved this skill a bit much in a narrow way and expanding your usefulness of it. It would be expand your usefulness to take it into a different context and learn something else, or something like that. Right?
Yeah, well,
if something is difficult, like that's what I've been trying to. Sorry, just to add one more to it. That's what I've been trying to do at work. Like my labor that I'm allowing my boss to steal from me, as Ray would say.
Go on.
is actually I've been trying to keep it in the mindset of like I it's still it's freaking struggle to get through a 10-hour day, and it shouldn't be a struggle. Like that's the crazy thing, like it's just crazy the mindset, how much your mindset affects this stuff, right? Because it's like I can when I'm at home, I can listen to a relatively boring YouTube video for like 4 hours and be perfectly happy to lay in my bed and watch a YouTube video that's not that entertaining. When I'm at work, that YouTube video, I'll be listening to a YouTube video on my headphones when I'm just pushing, some boxes around at work, and it's like I like, I'm like 1 out of 10 happiness. I'm like, I want to get out of here. This sucks. It's like I'm doing the same thing. I'm just listening to some stupid video. Um, it's tiring to be standing up for 10 hours, so that's a difference, but it's not that bad. And it's just crazy, the mindset difference, is crazy. So that's the kind of thing that I'm trying to focus on, trying to improve a little bit, because that's the kind of thing that's really, really difficult for me. So it's profitable to try to improve that.
I 100% agree. And I'm also in a like rebuilding season like you, Phil. Um, uh, and so the mindset, Wes, the mindset's really hard for peasants like us to grab onto, because I need you to understand that, because like there is a like we have this kind of like part of the problematic mindset that we have, Phil and I, is that we perceive that we have a lack of agency, right? Where it's not
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm doing this now and I'm rebuilding, or I'm going to get where I want to be. Like it just feels like I have to do this in order
Mm.
to survive. And it's like, so like,
Yeah.
talk to me about how, Wes, how you would inject a sense of agency into either that maxim, there's profit in all labor, or the preconditions that can get you into that like really um like abundant mindset.
Well, I think Casey Neistat really covered this topic really well in an interview that I watched with him a long time ago. And it was something like he just, and this was not some sort of brag, whenever something had to be done, he just never considered depending on anybody else for it. And I think that sounds maybe overly simplified, but how often, probably from our childhood, do we just get dependent on those around us? And then
Oh yeah.
somewhere in that like pattern recognition, then pattern adoption, we grow up as old infants, and somewhere deep in our subconscious, be like, oh, well, somebody else will take care of me. Even if it's, hey, even if I make no money, the government will take care of me, right? And I think these are thoughts that are very rarely articulated ever, but I wonder how much of it comes back to that, right? Like if it's like we firmly believed in our emotions and our intellect that no, the problem that's sitting on your desk is yours and yours alone, not to be shared in responsibility with anybody other than yourself. So I wonder, right, if that's at the core of it.
For sure, dude. That is part of the programming, right? Where because like we're all programmed by our experience, right? And so some of us are so I can imagine that two different people presented with, so for example, Wes, we're all familiar with your like Marvel superhero origin story, right? Broke, dad left at age 3, foreclosure, stuff on the sheriff puts the stuff on the front step, have to work to survive starting at age 8, 12, whatever. I think too, and I'm not minimizing it, but just because I'm not minimizing it, it's just giving the kind of like express version. And then I can imagine that two different people who experience that, one will have a ferocious entrepreneurial spirit so that it never happens to them again, and another might just have a learned helplessness kind of reaction, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that guys like Phil and I are kind of stuck in between, where we have and I'll speak for just myself. I have moments of entrepreneurialism. I run my own gallery. I I participate in this kind of like circular support system of brothers here. I do the same in my AA program. I do that, and I so like I offer myself in a kind of entrepreneurial way in business and other. Uh, at the same time, there's a learned helplessness part of it too, where there's this kind of like I'm not worthy or I'm not good enough or I've lost so often I'm probably going to lose again or what like that the kind of pessimism that comes with having a um right like a not having an easy time. So Wes, to put it mildly, you did not have an easy time growing up. And but if two people have that same experience, I think some can be like immobilized by pessimism and some can kind of turn into like savage business cannibals like you did um, as a result, right? And so I think that's part of whether so those two wolves are raging inside me, depending on which one I feed, right? And I guess that's why depending on which wolf is stronger, I'm going to interpret there's profit in all labor as kind of inspiring or something to dismiss.
Yeah, I also think, and Ray and Phil, you guys correct me if I'm wrong. Again, this is not an intellectual thing. This is why so many people can go on a crazy loop on it, where it's like, well, why can't I do this? And so it's like it's more of like an emotional belief, right? I often believe that raising the stakes exponentially to where other people are depending on you is a bit of a cheat code. As we've talked about in the past, like we're triggering that limbic system. It's like, so not only do you have to depend on you, right? Because you can kind of trick yourself into believing you don't, right? Like, oh, well, I can always just go wherever I can, get some food stamps or whatever. But when a child depends on you, even more, I have found to be very interesting when a parent depends on you. Because that's a really weird dynamic. It's like, oh, well, because a lot of parents, even if their kids are depending on them, they know that their parents are there as a safety net. But when your parents are not there as a safety net and you have other people depending on you, I actually think that's one of the biggest gifts you could be given, because it's like you're not getting out of that responsibility, right? It's not happening. Will Smith in The Pursuit of Happiness, like that's I don't know if you guys have seen that, but that's like a similar dynamic. Yeah. Like child's depending on him, wife's incompetent, doesn't believe in him, right, and has no parents that are mentioned, and this kid needs to eat and survive. So I don't know, Phil. I think in a weird way, adding pressure actually makes the game easier.
Hey, dudes, sorry for the interruption here. Just wanted to let you know, if you want to join our pro team, go to romasteam.com/pro. You can help support the channel. You will also get access to exclusive content, masterminds, one-on-one sessions, etc. All right, back to the episode.
I mean, it's definitely been true for me. Like, I definitely didn't make a lot of progress while I was very unhappy when I had an easy job. But I wasn't really trying too hard to fix my problems when I had a lot of free time, and it would have been very easy to try to work on problems back then. But I don't know, I just didn't have any motivation to do so because I just had easy paycheck and easy life. But
yeah, the heroin.
But Ray,
right?
But Ray, what's up?
You had that metaphorical heroin.
Oh yeah, totally. Like, but see,
easy paycheck, right?
So Ray, someone was showing me some like kind of like psychology stuff, whatever. Recently, there's like different like attachment styles or whatever. I forget all the kinds. There's like maybe 6.
Yeah, man.
What about attachment styles?
Yeah, I was going to propose that as a topic today.
Oh yeah, yeah. Mine. I think definitely mine is definitely. I forget the exact term. I think it was called anxious avoidant. Think I'm definitely anxious avoidant. Because avoiding my problems is always my number one thing. Like I'm gotten way too good at it to the point where I can avoid problems in
Oh yeah,
pretty dire situations.
you're like a
Um,
Jedi.
yeah, and like that's definitely pretty big problem. But like, so what do you think is yours? Is similar for you or?
100%. And Wes, if you wouldn't mind when you're done emptying your bowels or whatever you're doing. Okay, he's back. Okay. Well, voiding your bowels is more accurate. Can you give us a kind of crash course on attachment style? I know it's something you've studied, and for my benefit and those of us listening, explain what it is and the examples thereof. Wes?
Yeah, so I think what is it? Secure, anxious, and then there's like a combination of the two. What do they call it? Let me Google it here. Okay, secure, anxious. Okay, secure, anxious, and avoidant. Um, and then I think a combination of those three. So there's a really good book called Attached. Who was the founder of it? Was it I forget. Um, but this is very common in like relationship psychotherapy because you have multiple people, right? And if any of them are in sort of like a dysfunctional attachment style, and basically the moral of it is, okay, can you have a healthy interdependence on one another, but yet if the other were to go away, would you still be okay, right? And be able to take the healthy attachment style, aka secure attachment style, into another relationship. So from my understanding, it's been a while since I've reviewed it, but let's say secure attachment style is, hey, I'm in a relationship with Phil, and it can even be friendships, right? We each bring our own thing to the table. But if Phil, like we each state each other's boundaries, and I don't feel self-conscious because of my insecurities, I feel secure in what I'm bringing and value I'm bringing to the relationship, and vice versa. But if we are anxious, as an example, or one of us is anxious, it's a constant, oh my gosh, I'm not good enough. He doesn't think I'm good enough. What am I going to do? So you're almost bringing the problems to the table before they even happen. And then avoidant is like essentially, okay, well, I'm just going to avoid, I'm going to run the other direction. So almost like retreating. Phil, is that
Yeah.
synonymous with what you've heard?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, and anxious avoidant is the combination that made the most sense to me for myself. Um, yeah,
And let me read this to you guys because this goes back to the hard wiring of when you were raised. So, secure attachment style, it says babies became upset when their parent left and were comforted by their return, right? Anxious attachment style, babies would be very upset with their parent when their parent left and would be difficult to comfort upon their return. Avoidant attachment style, babies would barely react or not at all when their parent left or returned. And then disorganized attachment style, babies had more erratic and incoherent reactions to their parent leaving or returning, such as hitting their heads on the ground or freezing up. Ray, what's your
Wow.
perspective?
Well, my perspective, a couple of things come to mind. And if I can just take this on a personal journey, as I always do, oversharing and embarrassing myself for the benefit of the brotherhood, obviously. So as a kid, I grew up with an alcoholic parent and one of 5 kids, right? I, mathematically was not able to get all of mommy and daddy's love, right? Like mathematically in a perfect world, I would only get 20% of the parent kid love that mom was going to distribute between the 5 kids, right? Does that math check out? Okay. So I agree with that, or that like where this stuff is rooted in the baby. I totally agree. I totally can understand that. And then Wes, I think you can probably supplement baby with when your romantic partner leaves, right? Does it like right? The adult version of that is like does it trigger your abandonment issues or are you like, I don't care if people come and go because pain only results if I try to form relationships and attachments, right? So that that's what comes to mind. There's the link between the baby, in my mind, between the baby experience and how we behave now. And then just in the personal, I am exiting. So just to like bring it back to what we were talking about earlier, I am exiting a relationship of 24 years where I was married to someone wealthier than me who provided a um, like that safety net or that heroin drip that kind of like diluted my desire to go after it and have agency and make profit from all labor, right? Uh, so now in my new relationships, I wonder what it'll take, or I'm ambitious to not repeat that same behavior, right? So like if I'm blessed with another 25-year relationship in this next season of my life, or 5 year or 1 year, or whatever it is, um, I I intend to exit that relationship of dependency. Now, according to what you just said, Wes, I'm not. It might be more than just okay. Don't do what I did last time, but rather go all the way back to when I was a kid. Understand how I was informed by that experience, why it created the conditions of the last 25-year relationship, and with the combination of the two, kind of like be aware of those patterns going into it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it really is worth a deep dive into this topic for everybody who's interested, because the way that I visualize it is, a secure attachment style is seeking a healthy, reliable partner, right? And then it's almost like this: hey, I will come here and you come here, and we can discuss our problems, and we will always stay within this like small hula hoop of a zone. But
Like
when
that
you get
agreement,
to, what's that?
that kind of agreement.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Now, what's interesting though is like, okay, that sounds pretty obvious, but it's like during times of conflict. Number one, I have found that anxious attachment styles bring conflict to the table prematurely, right? So you end up creating a whole bunch of conflict that would have never existed in the first place had it not been for one's insecurities. And then also when there's conflict, okay, do either of these people retreat? Right? And it's, again, it sounds so obvious when we're talking about, but how often have we noticed ourselves, right? Like it's okay, if you have a conflict, it's, oh my gosh, okay, here we are again, this person screwing me over again, or this new person screwing me over, right? They're just like the last person, so that we run away, right? And but deep down we expect this other person to chase us, and that's
Yeah.
not the healthiest, because you just create this cat and mouse game. It's perpetual. It does not stop, because the person with the anxious or avoidant attachment style has not done the self work or completed the self work yet to say, okay, you know what? I'm going to stay and we're going to handle our stuff. Phil, what comes up for you? It looks like you're about to say something, but
Oh yeah, that's just definitely like a pretty common problem in my a lot of relationships that um yeah, just the avoidance. Yeah. It's just hard to I don't know. It's like it's hard to know how to like get a wedge under this problem, because it's like for me it's like a really big problem. So I don't know. I don't really know actually how to explain this right now, but
Phil, I
um
think you and I might share something in common, um, because I think I possibly oscillate between secure and avoidant. And maybe, honestly, maybe it's like 85% avoidant, most times, because I think when my guess is that when you have a childhood that is erratic, or where you can't depend on the leadership around you, eventually you build up this calloused, like self-reliance shield. And it's almost like,
yeah.
hey, okay, like I I've seen the world, I've seen its leaders, I'm not confident in their capabilities, so therefore it's on me. And then when I get out there into the world and I try to share that inside of a relationship, and as soon as the first sniff of incompetence or disloyalty in the most minute, insignificant way, my brain can easily connect it to be like, yep, here we go again. This is why I need to do the work. I need to be self-reliant and so on. And as we're talking about this, that's definitely self-work that I have to do. Phil, does any of that resonate?
Yeah, like, yeah. Yeah, it's yeah, sorry, I'm just getting all self-conscious. I don't know. Yeah, that all resonates with me. I don't really know what to say about it right now. Sorry. Um,
No, you're okay.
but Ray, like, I'm wondering, Ray, I'm kind of wondering for you. I was kind of just wondering a lot, like what do you try to do to deal with these things when, like, specifically, like if this type of like avoidant, because to me, like, I don't know, I don't. This is just my thing, but like I don't know how it is for you, but for me, like, like I said before, I've said it a few times before, I feel judged like crazy, irrationally, way too much. Judgment is all the time from things that aren't really a big deal, and then also like get very paranoid, kind of like Wes was just saying. Like I have a big problem like getting paranoid about people, like thinking they're pieces of shit or whatever, even when it's like that not reasonable to think that. So that makes me want to avoid people for sure. But like, what I'm wondering what it's like, right? Like in the moment when those types of things happen, or when these types, whatever the thing for you that you were thinking of.
Well, Phil, I mean, as everyone can hear, like we relate a lot to each other's situation, and it's easier for me to tell you what to do than to come up with what I should do because my internal dialogue's so loud. And it might be the same for you. So, a couple of things come to mind. Um, when I'm out there judging people, the way they dress, the way they drive, whether they're hot or not, whether they're white enough, whether they're black enough, like whatever absurd judgment machine spinning out of control in my head does. Um,
Yeah.
I think at the root, a, it's an internal conversation about like the worst judgment is reserved for myself, right? So and I mean it's like it's obnoxious and exhausting, but I think we have to start with I'm worthy, I'm good enough, I'm lovable, like that kind of like self-love. I think that's where it starts. And I'll give you an example of how I struggle with it. Even today, I was in a coffee shop and there was just this gorgeous creature next to me, in her 20s, just kind of like exotic, maybe Italian or Lebanese or something. And like I look over, she's working on calculus. So like
Aliens
beauty
exotic.
and brains, beauty and brains. And
Italian's exotic.
And
oh, but anyway, like Italy or Italy or further. Okay. So like um Mediterranean compared to me, dude, it would look like an interracial marriage. Okay. Just bear with me, please. And then, like, I was thinking of all these compliments I could pay her, and then I saw this older guy walk by who was about 70, and he just like obviously same wavelength as me. Like he walks by real slow and does the elevator, you know. And then I'm thinking like, and then that judgment kicks in, right? Where I'm like, ooh, wait a second, that's what I'm like. Ooh, she wouldn't want to hear a compliment from me. I'm gross. I'm an old man. Um, and so that's the point being is that like um anyway, that was a kind of a judgment uh cycle that went on in my head where I saw a guy appreciating beauty and then I was like, ew, like what a gross old man. Wait, that makes I was doing the same thing and that means I'm a gross old man. And um so and then I guess that again, so just to bring it back to the beginning, that activated my sense of unworthiness or something. Whereas, like, if I started with a sense of self worth, worthiness, self love, and self esteem, um, I could have less of a chance of getting into that negative cycle. look, I still go out there and like consider everybody on the road as personally attacking me when they change lanes. I still go out there like judging people and like kind of grading them. That's something I got to work on. But really, I just to answer your question in the longest way possible, I think that like creating on the self love and self worth and self esteem part of it first is the probably
Yeah.
where I think I need to do the work to be less of a judgment machine.
So, something that I kind of liked when I went to this meditation thing a long time ago, and they explained that like there's proper what from the specific practice of meditation that they were teaching. They were saying they're like there's a proper and improper ways of meditating. They were saying like the ways of meditating that are kind of illegitimate in their opinion is things like, for example, transcendental meditation, which specifically is about like visualizing a specific idol or visualizing a specific thing. Like, and for example, like in my opinion, I kind of agree with this just because like I feel like when I've tried to meditate before, and there's a reason I'm saying this, I'm using this in an analogy. That when you're meditating, for example, I feel like if you breathe really, really heavy and really deep, it kind of puts you into a trance, but it's sort of a cheating way of meditating. You're not actually really it makes you feel calm, but it's not a robust way of examining and building up a skill set, really. It's just when you breathe like that or when you do these kind of physiological things, they can make you feel calm, but they're not really giving you any kind of like bigger skill set. And that's what they taught us. And I kind of avoid that, just made a lot of sense to me. And I feel like there's the same kind of thing. I wonder if Ray's still here. There's the same kind of thing with trying to examine and question your emotions. Also, I don't know how much time we have left here, but like I've always felt like there's cheap ways. Like sometimes when I've road rage problems. Sometimes when I'm in the car or driving on the highway, even in traffic and annoying, situations or whatever, like sometimes I'm super like chilled out and I'm just like, I don't care if people are assholes, whatever happens, it's all good and stuff. But I feel like that's kind of like a fake thing where I'm kind of like I feel like what's happening there is like I'm like using my ego to trick my ego into being a certain way that I want to be. Where I'm like, me being calm or whatever is like this egotistical like act that I'm putting on or whatever. As opposed to like actually being calm would be like actually not giving a shit, actually being like, it doesn't matter. And so something I've been trying recently, because I've been trying a bunch of things to like really like I've been trying to like actively push back against these narratives in my mind and like try to reframe these like things that I'm always telling myself in my head. And so for feeling judgment in particular, something that I feel has been kind of useful recently is when I'm feeling judged, because I feel judged like crazy all the time. And like something I've been thinking recently is when I'm feeling judged, I start thinking like, who am I feeling judged from? Like specifically, who do I feel is judging me right now? And like, it's something about that. Like when I try to really like look at it, it helps me kind of break down. It helps me kind of break down this like this very strong feeling of judgment because if I ask myself like, who is judging me right now? Like I know that the person that I'm thinking is judging me isn't, and it redirects my like I know the reality is I'm judging myself very, very harshly. That's what's happening. I have these very strong feelings, the negative feelings about myself, and I'm telling myself that they're feeling those things, but I know that they're not, or at least I don't have any reason to think they are.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I don't know, because I have a lot of that type of, a lot of my negative emotions are sort of like projections, or I do a lot of projecting, and
I love it.
I don't know, something about that has just been useful to me recently, to just be like, to try to really look at, just in the moment, look at like, where does this emotion feel like it's coming from? Are they the ones actually judging me, or is it just me judging me? Um,
I
yeah.
love that, dude. No, that's so good because like Wes, what I'm hearing is that like uh Phil has a like hate, like for lack of a better word, I'll just use my word. He has like a hate feeling coming on, like I hate that driver or whatever, or I'm judging that driver, and then he does a signal intercept, right? And he'll ask himself, wait, do I really hate that driver, or wait, why, like, is that person really judging me? And just that like split second of reflection allows a new neural pathway to form where he can say, wait a second, I'm not a mind reader. I don't have a crystal ball. That person might just be thinking about, you know, um, what they saw on Instagram when they were sitting on the toilet this morning or whatever, just like the rest of us. So I love how he has offered a simple uh, mantra. Really, is that person really judging me? Or what are the chances that person's actually judging me? Right? That can that's just a great kind of signal intercept when he's aware that he's having an unhealthy thought, but and then so then he used that tool to arrest it.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, do you ever do that, Ray? Oh, sorry, Wes.
No, please go ahead, buddy.
Oh, sorry, I was just gonna ask if Ray does that. My bad.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I do. I have some no again. I have some version of that on my best days or on my best moments. For example, driving. A guy honks or pulls turns into my lane, and then let's say generously 50% of the time, I consider it to be a Mad Max death match invitation, right? And the other 50% of the time, when someone acts like a jerk or does something slightly unsafe or inconsiderate, like on my best days, I can tell myself, yeah, I do that once in a while. Or you know what I mean? Which is self-telling self, hey Ray, would you like to have the death penalty for what you just did 2 blocks ago? And I'm like, me? No, I don't. I have a, but it's me because it's me because I'm different. And so just by that would be my mantra that I use in moments like that on the road. It's like I do that once in a while, and that can like defuse the eye for an eye. You know, he he violated my airspace. Now I have to go violate his. So that's one of my tools. Wes, do you have any that come to mind? Mental models like the kind of the Constitution for your mom that you read, for example. I definitely have to prepare one of those, man, because I'm living with mine right now, and I'm just digging a 6 foot hole. Anyway,
Yeah, yeah. Well, I do want to unpack the judgment thing maybe next time with you guys because I might have an
100%.
alternative perspective. I think a lot of us feel fear of being judged. All of us feel fear of being judged. And the common response to that is like, dude, nobody's paying attention to you. Right. Like, or a version of like a version of like they're actually not judging you. They're busy with their own lives. I actually don't think that's true. And I think the reason that we're all feel fearful that we are being judged is because we judge. So we have an idea, right? Do you know what I mean? So like, so there's that reconciliation is not accurate, right? It's like if I were to tell Phil, oh, nobody's judging you, right? Somewhere, this is my own personal belief. He's not going to believe me fully because he knows that humans judge because he's a human and he judges all the time. I think it's to what degree, right? I think Ray, you do a great job of articulating. It's like, yeah, your Terminator radar is just going across the landscape, and they're like, yep, that guy, that guy, that guy, he sucks. She's okay, she's exotic, blah blah blah, whatever, right? Um, so I think the profound nature of it is maybe not that we are not being judged when in fact we are. It's the fleeting nature of the judgment, right? It's like when Phil's scanning or I'm scanning around the room, I think about it for 0.5 seconds and then move on. And then also, right, like if a person were to approach me, like how quickly that judgment can completely go away if that person approaches me with a positive attitude, a positive vibe, et cetera, et cetera. So I think there's something to unpack there. It'll probably take us a lot longer. So I think, yeah, I think we should do that at some point. But I also, this is where I think I come back to conversations of value, right? Ray asked me for a mental model that I use to avoid feeling stuck or avoiding inaction because of being paralyzed by something else. And I think the mental model, or when somebody like cuts me off in a fit of road rage or whatever it would be, the one mental model that I come back to very often is it's not my game. Right? Like just very, very often repeat that mantra. Like, am I going to be distracted with this thing over here? Of this guy cutting me off or this person not moving up the line as quickly as they can at the tea shop or whatever. And then if on a good day, just reminding myself, like, this is not my game. This has nothing to do with me feeding my family, with me getting in shape, with me, investing money, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. These are all distractions. And it's amazing how many distractions that you will find if you pay attention to this, right? Think about your 4 or 5 games that you want to play or your handful of goals and realize that 98% of what happens during the day has nothing to do with those goals. So if you can free up your mind and not focus on any of those things, right? And just focus on the 2% that matters, your life can dramatically change. And I need that reminder as well, because I get distracted so often with a whole bunch of things that just frustrate me. So anyway, dudes, I got a jet. Love you guys. Thank you so much for taking the time. Ray and Phil, thank you. I know you guys dropped off. The system's probably acting up right now. Anyway, love you guys. Have a great Thanksgiving, dudes. And I'll talk to you soon. Later.